And welcome in, everybody. Judgemetaltv, continuing coverage of the Hanwha Eagles, our KBO series, enter Season 2. This video will be a brief introduction to the Season 2 that we're about to kick off here. What we're going to try to get accomplished today is we're going to bring you up to date on what we've been doing in the offseason. We're also going to talk about the new stadium. We have a computer rendering, an artist rendering, whatever you want to call it, of our new stadium, and we'll show that to you here after we talk about the team for a little bit. Right now, looking at the screen, if you're eagle-eyed, and you can see that I have it in February up here on this little calendar. It's not actually February. It's January 1st, 2025. Took it up to New Year's Day. I thought that would be a good place to stop and give an update on what's been going on. Followed Season 1. You'll see some mostly familiar names in the lineup and really in the pitching staff. There's not huge changes here. There's one big, we'll say, loss, one huge player gone from the starting 8. And currently the rotation looks the same, but that we'll update you there because there's going to be a change there. And there's some minor changes in the bullpen, which I don't think are actually going to be minor. It's minor in the sense that it's one or two people probably, but we hope that that's going to give us the depth that we were missing last year. So let's start. We'll look, if you remember, we'll do a little recap. 71-70 were our Eagles last year. Here's the KBO standings. We did get into the playoffs. We had that push at the end. Sihwan No got very hot, helped push us over the top. Hyunjin Ri pitched some great games, as did Franklin Castaneda. Got the team into the playoffs. We played Samsung, won the first game, but lost the second game, so Samsung did move on after that. So we were into the playoffs, but out in the first round. So for our team and for our team goals, it's actually a bit of an accomplishment. Getting into the playoffs was unexpected for Hanwha last season. This season, we'll see once we finish up the season, we'll see what the AI, the computer, thinks of what our chances are this year. It's going to be interesting to see if they liked our changes. So let's talk about these changes. We'll start with the lineups. Here you're going to see our starting 8 against right-handers, or I should say starting 9 now with DH. Against right-handers and against left-handers, it's basically the same. Moon, who last year was playing in center field, is going to take over left field. And we'll show you why we're doing that. I think he's got a lot more potential to be a better left fielder. I played around with the idea of moving him to second base, but I think we're better covered at second base. So I think if you combine the team needs with where he's going to be able to grow, a more comfortable position, I think he'll be comfortable in left field. He'll be a very solid left fielder after we get through spring training and he has some reps out there. I think you'll see that rating come up. Now he's a 30, but he's got potential to be a 65, and that shouldn't take long for him to be a very good left fielder. We've been working on his offense in the offseason. Later, we'll jump into the player development, and I'll show you some of the things that we've been working on there. We have been working on his, I believe for him, we were working on patience at the plate because we were trying to develop the eye a little more. And last year, he was 299, so a tick under 300 hitter, 363 on base percentage. He's a good, solid base runner. I think now that he's got a year in the KBO, we can go ahead and put him at the top of the lineup. He also possesses good leadership traits. These things matter. From my experience playing this game, you need to have good leadership on your team. These egos or attitude problems can be an issue. They do show up on teams. But hitting second, we're going to stick with our veteran shortstop for now. Jo Suk-ha, solid shortstop, 30-year-old. He'll be turning 31 in a couple months, but performed well at the plate last year, 284, 323 on base percentage. So maybe as some other players develop this season, he moves down the lineup a little bit. Ideally, some other guys would step in. But for now, this is January 1st, off-season. If I'm making a lineup today, we're going to play Joe Suka at shortstop, and he's going to bat second. Che, our DH, he's going to bat third. One thing you're going to see in this lineup that it might be a little short on power. The person that you're looking for right now, if you were watching last season, is Melendez, who was our first baseman. We probably could have extended him during the season and gotten that done. It was a little pricey. And once he went to free agency, his numbers went way up. I don't think anyone signed him at this point, but his numbers were way out of our league. We only have like a $13 million budget total for players. So yeah, he was out of the possibility to come back. So Che, who had a rough season last year, 221, just a 294 on base percentage, only 5 home runs. He did miss some time with injuries. So we're looking for the 34th, soon to be 35-year-old. We're hoping for a bounce back season. This could be a position that we might be addressing, during the season if it's not working out. That will be something we're keeping an eye on. Third base, of course, is the 2024 KBO Platinum Stick Award winner at third base, Gold Glove winner at third base, and most valuable player. So Si-Hwan No was outstanding last season, all over the field. 366, 433 on base percentage, 36 home runs, 122 RBIs. You see all those red, those were leading the league categories. So he's been outstanding. He is definitely the centerpiece of our team. We got him at $690,000 this season. His price is going up. Next year's going to be another. It's kind of weird. Like almost my whole team went to arbitration. It was a lot of players in arbitration. He was one of them. And it's such a small budget. And it was really hard to manage because I really would have liked to have just extended him. So we went with arbitration because we knew that would be the cheaper option this year. We'll look this season at trying to get him an extension so that we don't have to go into every season worried about whether we can keep our best player or not. Now, here's where you're going to get a change. Right field against right-handers, you're going to get Inho Che. Che played some left field for us mostly last year. He's going to go to right because of us moving Moon over. 416 plate appearances. He hit 347 with a 401 on base percentage. So he was really good. This is somebody that I would probably consider just playing every day because of what he did last year and the year before too. That's 2 solid seasons. But we're kind of leaning on the left-handed bats at this moment. So when we get into our left-handed batting lineup, or the lineup against lefties, we also have Lee, who's not great contact, but he does have some power, and we may need his bat from the right-hand side. Last year, he 244, 331, just 6 home runs, but 311 plate appearances. So we'll see how this goes. It's going to be something where I think Che's the better player, but for now, this is what we're penciling in. Again, I said it's January 1st, 2025. There's still some stuff to do here in the off season, and we're going to play some of these out in spring training and see how they work. And we'll take first base again this season. 611 plate appearances, just 244, 313, only 5 home runs for him. Not a guy with a ton of power ratings-wise, but someone we expected a better offensive season from. This is another position we're going to be watching just because we have almost $1.4 million invested in this position. It's got to produce for us. It had in the past. It just didn't last year, so we'll see. Now here's a position that we have a change. Here's one of our acquisitions in the offseason here, Ji-Chan Kim. We get him from Samsung as a free agent. Somebody that can, first thing that jumps out to me is this great base running. So somebody, if we can get this guy on base consistently, he can cause some problems. Solid outfielder. He's going to play center every day. We wanted to get Moon out of center. This guy enables us to do that. He is technically a better second baseman. He's a very good second baseman, but we're okay there. Jung is playing second base. We didn't get to him yet. He's not the offensive player that we hope Kim is, but if things don't work out in center field, then Kim could end up going to second base in the future. We signed him for 4 years at $124,000. So we've given this guy a decent contract. I feel like this looks to me like a guy who'll get on base. Great eye, makes contact, avoids strikeouts, slightly above average on batting average balls in play, and he can run. So he's going to make contact and run. At some point, we hope to move this guy up near the top of the lineup. He only hit .219, .323 last year. Limited action, comparatively speaking, had a more successful 2023. So we're taking a little bit of a chance here because he did not produce last year in over 600 plate appearances. But I think if we put this guy in there, I think he's going to improve. And we might just catch this guy at the right time. As these numbers get better, he might be able to come through for us and solve that center field problem that we created by moving Moon. Jung, the second baseman we just talked about, not a great offensive player. Ended up 240, not much power there, but someone who'll give you some good at-bats. 356 on base percentage. He's he's still young, very solid second baseman, decent on the base paths. He's a solid player. He's a guy that if you have a good team, this guy can play for you forever. Solid fundamental guy, defense on the bases. The bat might be a little light. We'll see. We'll see if he can come around. And if that proves to be the case where he's not, an everyday player, we actually did start training him to play different positions because maybe this guy becomes our utility guy down the road. But did get a Gold Glove last year at second base. And finally, we end the lineup. The ninth batter will be our catcher, our veteran catcher, 35 years old as we speak, Jae-Hoon Che. Very solid defensively. Hangs out with teammates after the game, so I guess that's a good thing. I guess. Depends on what he's doing, I suppose. But I thought he'd hit a little better last year. I mean, I don't think these ratings are going to hit great. I was hoping he'd hit closer to 250. We'll see. Slightly above average eye, avoid strikeouts, average contact. So you never know. I mean, if this guy hits 240 something, he didn't hit any home runs at all, which is kind of crazy. But he's only hit 6 in the last 2 seasons anyway. But that's not what we're looking for. We want this guy to be our good game calling catcher. We invested a lot in our pitching staff. We want this guy to manage that pitching staff. That's why he exists. We are paying him $1 million, which in this league is a bit of money. So we'll see, and we do have to start thinking about the future. As like I said, he's at 35, and 2026 he's a free agent. Will I spend $1 million on this guy again? Maybe not, but that's our starting 9. We'll jump over here. We'll look at the pitching staff. This right now is going to look, very familiar because it's the exact same starting 5 that we used for most of last season. You've got Hyunjin Ryu leading off at top of the rotation. He's our man. That's our ace right there. Had a great season. He was 8-9, but 316 at 23 starts. He did miss some time with injury, but still outstanding top of the rotation guy. Castaneda, we kept him. He had a really strong season, 15-5, 298, 29 starts. You could argue he was our best pitcher last year. I mean, the ERA seems to indicate that, but pitched a lot of big games. really stepped up when Rue was injured as well. Vera ended the season 7-10, but a 3.45 ERA. He made 29 starts. He had some rough outings at the end of the season here. Didn't get a chance to pitch in the playoffs because we lost that second game. Actually, that was a tough decision for me because Vera was up, but Castaneda was ready on shorter notice. I went with Castaneda because he had been the guy for much of the season. Who knows what would have happened if I'd gone with Vera? Maybe things had gone differently. But we brought Vera back. We brought Castaneda back. So those are two of your three foreign-born players right there. And then we'll go to the third guy in the bullpen. Number 4, Lee, probably not going to... Well, he's probably not going to be in the rotation this season. We did pick someone up. I'll show you him in a second, who I think is going to be an improvement. Although Lee, 4.55, he was 6-10, 23 starts. He had his ups and downs. He was capable of throwing a good game there. You see, he went 7 innings, just a run. Actually had 3 good starts in a row. Then struggled there. So it's possible. We're going to have a competition for that spot in the rotation. Moon, unless he pitches terrible in spring training, he's going to stay in the rotation as well. He's just 21 at the moment. He's one of our, one of the guys that we're building for the future with while we're trying to win today. There's a slogan. Again, he also had his ups and downs, and you have a 4.58 ERA. But if we've been working on him in the player development, and hopefully we can get that control just taking up that notch to 50. That could be a big difference for him, and then develop one of these secondary pitches a little bit more, and then that should be enough for him to be just good enough to be successful. I mean, he is our 5th guy. He doesn't have to blossom this year. He just has to improve. In the bullpen, we're going to stick with Joe as our closer. Joe, no, nothing really stands out. He's just solid across the board. He was very effective. 6-3, 24 saves, 227 in 46 games. So he did a great job closing out games. He's going to keep that job. When you have a season like that, I don't think you lose your closer spot. We did add Kim at the trade deadline, who pitched excellent for us. You can see right here, 14 games, 0.67 ERA, 1-0, 13 innings pitched, but he was great for us. Down the stretch after the trade deadline, we extended him, so we have him for another season. Did cost us close to $300,000, but if he pitches like he did for us for those 14 games, then we'll be glad we spent the money. He'll be your primary setup guy, and he'll close out when Joe's not ready to go. We've added, well, let's say we got Jung, the left-hander. You remember him from last year. Not great, but not bad. He pitched excellent last year, as did most of our lefties. They're not great ratings guys, but with matchups, I think we can do well with them. Mason Erla was another one of our additions to the team. Added him for a few reasons. One, he was probably the most solid across the board relief pitcher that we could sign. He is a foreign-born player, like I said, so that's our 3. All 3 of our foreign-born players are in the pitching staff. A lot of teams will make sure that one of those guys are in the middle of the bat lineup, like Melendez. That didn't work out. I thought this bullpen depth would really help us. He's a ground ball pitcher, good stamina, so he should be in a lot of ball games. He has good leadership skills. We are lacking leadership skills on this roster. And last season, he pitched in the Independent League, and he last pitched AAA in 2023. Not great results, but I feel like Mason is going to give us some depth, can be another setup guy, give our late innings a little more assurance. And you know what? Honestly, if that doesn't work out, we can always make a change there. And if the offense is terrible, we can always go get a bat. Since if you're going to allow yourself a foreign-born player, So if we get rid of Erla, that opens that door. There will be some bats available through the season. It's just keeping yourself to that limit, right? So rest of the bullpen, Park, who was a setup guy, we'll look at him real quick. He's someone now that we move him down in depth. He struggled last year, 4.47 ERA, although he did pitch well down second half. So his earned run average did come down as the season progressed. So we feel like him being down here in the middle relief is going to give this bullpen that more depth. Again, we keep talking about depth. Kim, Han. These guys all pitched well. They're not great rated guys. But again, with the lefties, the matchups, Jang threw a lot of innings, had a very high earned run average. I would suspect that this might be a guy on a bubble. Yeah, we'll see. Some of this is going to play itself out in spring training. Kim, who was our lefty specialist, had that 0.76 ERA in 43 innings, or 43 games. Again, matchup guy there, 23 2/3. We don't just throw this guy out there and let him pitch to just anybody. We got to find the right spots. But he had success last year. So last guy we'll take a look at, Kim, is somebody who's came back, I think, from military service. He's probably not making the squad. You never know, but it is some depth in case there's injuries. Tae-In Won is somebody who I'm expecting to pitch. I'm expecting him to pitch well enough to take that 4th spot in the rotation. So we keep Moon in the 5th spot. This guy takes that spot from Lee. He's got good stamina. He's considered a borderline starter. He's a ground ball guy, high overall rating. You know, if some of this stuff, he's 24 years old, so some of this stuff, if we get the last little bit of development, control's good. He's got 3 good pitches. And, yeah, should be able to keep the ball in the yard more or less. So we're hoping that is just a slight improvement in our starting rotation. So that is the current team. So this is basically what you're looking at. This is the best that I can figure to do for you right now. If you're interested in the new stadium, as you can look and you can see, I did look up some information on the new stadium that they are building for the Hanwha Eagles. I got the foul pole distance from Korean News. So the left and the right field foul poles are the correct distance from home plate. Center field is probably not. The stadium's not going to look exactly like that. Obviously, we got some limits here with what we can do with the stadium editor, stadium builder, but I tried to keep it as close as I could. The 2-tiered bullpen is something that the stadium will have. I believe the fountain is also something I took directly from that, the park area, things like that. So they're trying to build some recreation areas. My stadium will seat 26,000 people. That will seat about 20,000. Now last year we were drawing like 6,000 some people, maybe 7,000 people into a game. So 26,000 seems like overkill. But I want to test this thing out, and I want to see if we go into next season and we start to win and we start to grow our fan base and grow our following. You know, will we fill the stadium? Oh, it's right there on the screen. Baseball Dream Park. I wrote it right on the screen. Yeah, will we be able to build this, and then can we build our budget out of this? So that's what we want to watch for the second season. We want to continue our growth with this team, but we also want to see if we can put more butts in the seats, get some more revenue going, and see if we can grow this team into one of the top teams in the KBO. So that's our long-term goal. We'll see how that works out. That starts on opening day. And unfortunately, that's the first look we're going to get into the stadium on the home opener. I don't know if it'll be opening day, but the home opener will be our first chance to jump in here and play. I'm going to try to get some specifications for that center field and the gaps to get that. If it's not perfect, it's okay. I just want to make sure that I get it as close as I can so I get the most realistic outcome here. But yeah, if you've got any questions, thoughts, input, jump down in the comments section. This will be a YouTube only video. We won't do anything on Twitch about this, but we will do a Twitch stream with this team very, very soon. We're going to try to get back to the Tuesday baseball that we have been doing for a few months now. So anyway, thank you for hanging out. I'm going to shut up. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed this thing, and keep your eyes out, because very soon we will be coming back at you with more baseball. Judgemetaltv on YouTube, and Judge Metal on Twitch as well. Check us out on Facebook also. Thank you. Have a great day.